Hello and welcome to the 2024 Formula One Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I've already got 4 cars. You don't really need more than one, but I want to make a video, so I'm choosing the Aston Martin. And I'm going to put all the upgrades I need to finish the event right now. Just over 1.7 million M dollars and 435 gold. Rewards are 200,000 M dollars and 70 gold. So the actual cost will be just over 1.5 million M dollars, 365 gold. And so, and then here's my settings, just so you can see. I always race with my assists off, and tilt beat controls, I always do that. And nowadays, I'm always using sensitivity 0. That is a little more of a recent change, like maybe in the last, I don't know, maybe I did that 6 or 7 months ago. The only place I will change that, if I'm at Monaco, I'll actually increase my sensitivity to 2, so I move up 2 notches. And maybe I might do that at a Formula E circuit, like if there's really tight hairpins. And I didn't do any test runs on this car, I'm just going, so this could get a little bit sloppy, but that's okay. You'll see how sloppy I am when I'm adjusting. So the only place I will turn on my steering assist is Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Daytona Motor Speedway. Those are places where having that steering assist on actually does help to smooth out your steering, and it could make you a little bit faster. For the average person, I'd say. It's possible that you're still better off without them, but I find it's actually beneficial there. It's interesting. Everywhere else, nope, I don't like it. And the other assists, of course, greatly reduce your speed, and like brake assist low will brake too late and will brake where you don't need to sometimes, but it'll brake too late, which ruins your exit to the corner, which ruins your speed, and also you'll often be sliding like crazy in corners, so then you think you need traction control. You don't need traction control. Traction control in this game is not intelligent, it's just brakes. So it just, all 4 tires brake. Instead of intelligent traction control, you would have just 1 or 2 wheels braking, not all 4. And I'm turning on the TSM so you can just see the bots that are around me. So traction control actually only comes on when you need it, but honestly, when it comes on, it stays on too long. You're better off to control the car yourself. And then steering assist, I already addressed most of that. The problem with steering assist high on most circuits is it tries to fight you to take a very specific race line. And sometimes it's a horrible race line, and it'll fight you. So, if you have steering assist high, but traction control off, it'll actually make you slide out sometimes. By the way, that's surprising. Some of these races just end right away. So that's kind of cool. You get all the earnings without having to run so far. And I'm not going to be doing any bot slowing. I'm going to run this really hard. Let's see if it gets difficult. So, like I said, steering assist high, definitely really restrictive. Although that's the one I use at the 2 speedways. Steering assist low won't interfere very much. I do find at the bus stop at Porsche Test Track in Leipzig that it's a little bit restrictive. Otherwise, it's not a problem unless you're off track, which of course some people might say, why would you ever be off track? Well, actually, I think it's important to learn off track driving, because sometimes in events like this, they force us to drive off track. And if you know me, you know endless endurance racing. It's a wonderful way to earn piles of currency, and you should know how to do it, because, well, it's a way to earn a lot of currency, especially on 100% bonus fame day. With the agent hired, you get 4 times your regular fame. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so I haven't said much about this yet because stage 1 is just going to be easy. I'm making a few mistakes. Forgive me, hope you do too. I want to finish as high as I can with every single race. I'm not one bit worried about making this difficult. Oops, I went way off track there. And you're noticing that's a little bit sloppy there. That's probably considered off track. We'll find out later when they probably have some no off track races. But it's this is the same Yas Marina circuit we're familiar with. Of course, I know in real life it's been updated, and I don't know, no idea if it's going to be updated in the game. I haven't gotten an answer about that. I'm guessing the answer is no. And so we'll just go with it as it is. It's actually a really big deal to change a track. Like, if you think about it, they'd have to send someone out there to capture everything. Like, there's a lot of details in this game, so it does take a lot to change things. Like, there's like little bumps in the road, little imperfections. They're all here. They're all coded into the game. Well, how do they get that? I don't actually know. My guess is they might use LiDAR or something like that so they can scan everything into a computer program, and then you can do some renderings, and it would actually accurately produce it. But that wouldn't be cheap. So, you've got to send a crew out here. You've got to get all this footage, like buildings, like just think about how much work it would be to code all of this. So tracks are a very big deal. That's why we just don't see them added into the game that often. I would think that adding things like a track should be getting easier and easier with all the technological improvements we've seen. Like even some of the LiDAR scanning and different things they can do, three-dimensional renderings and that, they're much more common. Like, I don't know how other countries work, but here in parts of Canada, if there's like a major accident where someone's died, it used to be that the intersection would be shut down for a long time, and now it's a couple of hours. They get a LiDAR in there, and they scan everything, and then they can recreate that accident site in a lab and finish the investigations there. And so that's pretty interesting. So things have changed. Anyway, I don't know. It's supposition on my part, but I do know from talking with the developers in the past, it is substantially more difficult to make a track than it is to make a car. And interesting how different these cars are. This would be my first, what I would call a lesser car. It doesn't perform as well as the other ones. So you'll notice in the current time trial competition, Mercedes actually seems to be the best car, but there's lots of other cars in the top, like Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, and Valencia are all in the top. In fact, the Valencia is probably better than this Aston Martin, which is kind of funny to me, but not too surprising. That Valencia is an incredible car. Like in the current time trial competition, I've got a upper Group A time in the Valencia. So that is surprising. It's a very well-balanced car. Slightly better balanced than some of these cars, I find. I just find the way someone was saying that they think it's the low-speed grip is better, and I think that's true. And that makes sense at Interlagos, where we've got more sharper corners, lower speed. But even some of the high-speed corners, I just felt it was better in the Valencia, specifically corner 4. Interesting thing about corner 4 is there's some pretty heavy bumps when you're flying off the curb. And the 2024 Formula 1 cars, they get airborne and they spin around. Oh, I just lost my concentration there. They get airborne, they can spin around. Same with corner 1. You can be hopping off the curb and then your car will lose it, because when you're in the air and you're steering, the car will just spin around. It's just part of a coding issue, I guess. But the Valencia doesn't do that as easily. That's very interesting. So, fabulous car. I'll post both of those videos at the end of this event here. So, a video showing my Group A RB20 run and my Group A Valencia run. If you're not familiar with my channel, I run 2 accounts. This is my main account. That's why I've got massive currency, because I've been playing since 2015 and I play a lot. But then I realized I wanted to remake some of my videos for cars, for flashback events, but I can't because I already own the cars and they're fully upgraded. So it's not a good video for people. So I started a second account for that purpose. And generally, most of the time, I only get cars if there's a flashback event in my second account. So most cars have little to no upgrades. So in a lot of the weekly time trial tournaments, I'm usually driving a borrowed car. I'm usually in Group F, maybe Group E. In the recent Volkswagen IDR time trial competition, I had a few upgrades and I got Group C. So most of the time I'm not getting Group A's in my other account. Well, or any account. Group A is very, very difficult. I'm actually very surprised that I have 2 Group A times in the Formula 1 time trial competition. It's incredibly difficult. In case you don't know, in the regular part of the game, Group A is just the top 1%. So that's not that difficult for me and for a lot of people, even though that still is the top 1%. But a lot of people don't have the car fully upgraded. In time trial competitions, Group A is the top 0.1%, 10 times fewer people. So all the categories move up a notch. Like in regular time trials, Group B is 5%. Well, in weekly time trials and time trial tournaments, Group B is the top 1%. So yeah, quite different. Okay, so we've moved on quite a lot here. You can see here that I'm at Yas Marina that I'm adjusting to being in this car with these upgrades. All of that is different. Like upgrades always affect your handling. So if I added more upgrades, this car would definitely settle in better. Like it would be a little more planted, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this with the minimum upgrades. Oh, we've got an off-track counter here, so that'll be a good indication of when I'm actually off track as far as this game is concerned. So in real life racing, racers are always going to push the absolute limits of the rules. And sometimes they will go beyond those limits and get penalties, and that's the way it works. But that's what real life racing is about. You got to push those limits. Now I'm driving a little more conservatively, but I'll start pushing it a little bit here. See how close I get. Right now, I'm really not going that close. Like, I'm actually surprisingly within the limits here, like more than I usually would be. I'm being a little bit cautious. These guys are, I don't want to get damaged. Don't like getting damaged. Okay, so now, oh my, this is a longer race. You'll see me pushing this more and more. That contact there, that was an interesting overtake. That first corner, you can take it surprisingly fast with the proper race line. You're taking it really wide. This, it's so tempting to cut that chicane because you could, but you really aren't supposed to be. And it's best to learn, I argue both sides of this, as funny as that sounds. Funnily enough, it's good to learn how to take everything on track. And then it's also good to learn not to be on track sometimes. How do you take the cuts? How do you maximize them if you need to? In an event like this, we won't need to. It's required PR, which means you must buy the upgrades to finish this event. You don't have a choice. Recommended PR means it's up to you, your skill level, and sometimes the requirements of the races. Like, the thing that usually kills us in recommended PR events is speed restrictions. Or that's not the right word. Speed requirements. So you're forced to hit a certain top speed. That's usually what forces a person to upgrade. Even average speed, if you're doing really good on the corners, you can get your average speed in pretty nicely. The game does not calculate average speed very well because it's based on how bots drive. Bots drive horrible on the corners. That's how you overtake the majority of bots. Like, racing is all about the corners. It's incredibly easy to drive straight. Anyone who drives a car knows that driving straight isn't difficult, it's the corners. So it's funny. Sometimes people will accuse me of hacking because they'll say, well, your car's faster than mine, you're hacking. No. I say to them, how did you enter the last corner? And people get confused. Well, what does that have to do with it? Well, your exit out of a corner is completely dependent on how you entered the corner. So if you didn't enter a corner properly, you can't exit it properly. So then you're slower down the whole next straight. Why? If I exited the corner 5 kilometers an hour faster than you, obviously the speed builds from there, right? Well, what if I exited 20 kilometers faster? So the entrance, your speed down a straight is completely dependent on your entrance to the corner before that straight. And that's racing, baby. So there you go. You've got to really dial in your corners. Like the way I took that last corner full throttle, well, that's because that's based on how I entered the corner. So you've got to pay attention to all of those things. They're all important. Now, eventually, I'm probably going to max out my earnings for the day. And if that happens, I'm still going to just keep going, get this done for you guys as soon as possible. but I'll show you the actual earnings, and you'll see how much I actually got. Like, of course, it'll be zero at a point, but I'll show you what the race would have paid for the position that I finished in. Of course, if you finish in a different position, you'll get different earnings. I'll just show you what I got. Now, remember, this is an outlap. What does that mean? We're partially into a lap. They will drive in formation on outlaps all the time. You need to use that to your advantage. So, one car will be sticking into the corners especially. Oh, these guys, it's interesting. They don't seem to be formation driving. Huh. That's interesting. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. Usually with formation driving, if one guy's left, the next guy will be right. And then the next guy would be left, and then right, and so on and so on. So you can easily plan your overtakes, because you'll know you'll have a massive section of track open to you. That's interesting. They didn't seem to be driving that way. Okay, I've got a really bad entrance to this corner. So then, of course, my exit's completely blown. But I can slipstream, so that's awesome. Slipstreaming is an awesome thing in this game. Prior to Update 8, we did not have it. And originally, it was only for motorsports cars. Then they started adding it to exclusive series, regardless of whether it was motorsports or not, which was awesome. And then they started adding it to the Seasons series. So it's becoming less and less exclusive, but what do you do? And then myself and other creator network people, I went to the developers and I said, hey, can you add slipstreaming to some of the most popular exclusive series? Because that's where the best paying races are for the most part. Not always. Like the highest individual paying races are actually not in exclusive series. Now that was cutting too much. Like the 2014, 2015 LMP1 cars, the 10-lap race at Le Mans, and there's a series for that one in Legend, and that would be the highest single paying. Oh boy, that's sloppy. Highest single paying races in the game, as far as R dollars and fame. You've got other races like in Classic Ferrari Showdown for the Ferrari F40, Ferrari F50. You have there's a 4-lap race at Le Mans, which actually pays very well. I believe the highest paying single race in the game for fame is in the Ferrari F14T1. It's a head-to-head race. It's too bad it's a head-to-head race, but it's a fast race there. So some of the really old races actually paid very well, and so that's kind of nice. But anyway, we came up with a list of series that we asked them to add slipstreaming to, and they were nice enough to do it, which I thought was just awesome. So, like Audi R8 LMS Ultra, Porsche 918 RSR Concept, McLaren MP4X, I believe the Ferrari FXXK, like all those exclusive series where lots of people do endless endurance racing, they have slipstreaming added. So just recently, I was driving the McLaren MP4X at Le Mans. I think I hit 452, maybe even 453 kilometers an hour heading into the first Mulsanne chicane, which is definitely going over the available top speed of that car. Kind of blew my mind, actually. I bailed because I was in the middle of, I was like 200 kilometers into a race, so I didn't want to crash. I might have been able to push the speed a little bit more, but I thought I better stop and get ready to brake, because the downside of slipstreaming is it throws off your braking zones. You've really got to be paying attention, because in some cars, you can get a lot of extra speed. Like the McLaren MP4X at Le Mans, the maximum speed you can hit heading into the first chicane is 436. So hitting 452 is really throwing my speed off. Same with these Formula One cars at Monza. Heading into Parabolica, unassisted, the most you can hit is about 382, maybe 384 heading into Parabolica. Slipstreaming, you could hit 390. So that's going to be a problem heading into Parabolica, where you can really lose it there. You got to be watching your speed then. So when you're slipstreaming, you got to go, oh man, I got to get on the brakes earlier. Here, there's formation driving. See that? This guy's going to be right. After I pass him, the next guy's going to be hanging to the left. Watch. So he's going to be way out to the left. And once he crosses the start-finish line, they all drive normally now. Okay, no one here. I can really blast this corner. Look at that. Look at that. Crazy overtaking speed. See, my exit speed was insane compared to his. Like, these guys are, like I'm telling you, the bots drive very bad. And these are upper-level bots. They should be driving well. Now, they're going to be driving according to the PR of the race. So you got to bear that in mind. Now, I think that this Aston Martin lacks top speed compared to other cars. Thing is, it has good acceleration and good grip. And I will often value those over top speed. Like, you can have cars that have better top speed, but they will not have better lap times because of their cornering ability. Again, like I said, it's about the corners. So you've got to have really exceptional top speed if you're going to outpull a car that's good in the corners. And if you've got great top speed, but you don't have very good brakes, who cares? Like, your overall lap times are not going to be good. So, and you see that a lot in the game. We've got these cars like the Hennessy Venoms, where incredibly ridiculous top speed, but not great braking ability. Whereas the Bugatti Bolide has insane top speed and insane brakes. Still, it feels like you're on the brakes forever in that car, but it is insanely balanced. High grip, really powerful brakes. And, I mean, you go over 500 kilometers an hour all over the place on that car in this game. It is crazy. Oh, yeah, by the way, end of the road, like, there's an event there where, I'll do that one again in my new account because I don't have the car. And it should still be possible with no upgrades at all, which means it's cheaper than free. I know that doesn't make sense, but you literally get paid to earn that car. That's why it's cheaper than free. So you get all the rewards of the event, of End of the Road, and all the earnings along the way. So it's cheaper than free. Blew my mind that it was that way. I think it wouldn't have been what they intended. Like, recommended PR for that car would be pretty high because it's going to be based on probably all three for upgrades. Yeah, that would be the final recommended PR, meaning the last 1 or 2 races would be based on having all threes for upgrades. So that means having 3 times 7 is 21. I'm doing it with 0 upgrades versus their expected upgrades of 21. So that's pretty crazy. It's very difficult to do that. And most people, I would say, just buy all tier 1 upgrades. So you don't need to do it with nothing. But in my, oh my, I did that again. I hate that. In my new account, I'm low on all currencies. So I'm definitely going to be doing it with nothing because I just don't want to spend the currency. Like in this account, you can see I've got piles of currency. I obviously did some spending in the recent sales. So some people will notice my gold is down. Also, part of that's due to a very silly mistake in Red Inferno. Oh well. But I've got piles of the R currency. There's just so little you can spend it on. So I kind of wish they would allow us to have buying customizations with R rather than gold. Even if it was horrendous costs, I would do it. Or if we had a exchange, R to gold exchange. I mean, it's not going to happen, guys. We've been asking the developers for it for years. I mean, they're not going to do it, but oh well. Still, I mean, people have asked. It's not going to happen. They know that people would love that, but it's not going to happen. They want people to use gold. So we just keep adding up our currency with not a lot of places to spend it. But you know what? Still, if I'm going to do a super long race, I still hire the manager. If he's free, I never pay to hire the manager. I'm not going to exchange gold for R dollars. But you know what? In my other account, sometimes I would do that if I was if they were having a big bonus fame period. Like there is one coming at the end, I think on the very last, yes, December 31st. It's 100% bonus fame for 24 hours. So you could just race like crazy. In that time frame, you're actually better off doing the non-endless endurance races. The only time you want to do an endless endurance race is when the reward pays on one race only. That's the advantage to endless endurance racing. Otherwise, there are races that pay more. I mean, The MP4X at Le Mans is pretty crazy. Like, I earn about 1,930 fame per minute. Pretty hard to get that anywhere else. I actually don't think you can. LMP1 cars don't pay near that. I don't think you can get that any other way. So I actually have that car VIP, and that might be what I do in my main account. Thing is, I need to do farming in my other account. I really don't need it in my main account, so I might do a couple of races in my main account and then most of it in my other account. But I don't have a lot of cars that I can farm with there that are upgraded enough. Oh well. We'll see how that goes. This is the last Grand Prix event for 2024. So if you're expecting more, you're not getting them. This is it. That's why we're having the finale competition right now. The time trial finale competition is what they're calling it. 5 events, like 5 Grand Prix events is pretty good. I like that. I really didn't like it last year when it was all LTS events, limited time series, where it's like, oh, do 45 races to get the car. I mean, it's honestly, I'd rather just do 8 days of farming. I don't know. It's probably half a dozen of ones. Well, no, yeah, it's because if you do the limited time series events, you're having to use gold for all of those. So yeah, I'd rather not. I don't get all cars anymore. I gave up on that years ago. It's very few people do that. I mean, kudos to people who do. That's pretty cool. But it's actually a very small amount of people actually get all cars, because it's very costly. Let alone very few people finish all series. I finished this game 9 times, and when that exclusive series came out, I loved it, but I realized I can't keep doing this. I just don't have enough time. So I don't. You gotta realize that making videos takes a massive amount of time. Like, first I've got to do the whole event, and then I've got to spend probably an hour or so just doing editing of that footage, and then I'm adding a voiceover like this. So, and if it's a video that's an hour long, it's a minimum of an hour for me to do the voiceover, because sometimes I'm making really stupid mistakes, and so I go back and I fix it. You can tell that sometimes. You can sometimes tell that, oh, suddenly the voice changed a little bit. I had to punch in a little bit. Sometimes it's because I made a mistake, or if I make minor mistakes, I leave them in there. I like to be kind of real, so you guys get a little bit of idea about who I am, I guess. And but if it's a really big mistake or make something really dumb thing, I'll change it. And then after I'm done doing that, it can take like, at least 15-20 minutes just to export the video. It's a long process. And then I've got to upload the video and do formatting in YouTube, timestamps, all sorts of stuff. So a video like this, for an event like this, from the time I start racing to the time I put out the video, it's probably about 5 hours. So you can see how that eats into my racing. That's why I just don't have as much time to race, because I'm putting way more effort into getting quality videos out to you guys. And that's what it takes. There are sometimes that if I'm trying to get like sometimes in my update videos, I've got some live racing. I like to do that just to kind of switch it up a little bit. Sometimes it can take me a half hour, 15 minutes to a half hour, just to get the footage I want to get. I've gotten a lot less picky about that, because that's a lot of time. But sometimes I'll actually keep on doing a replay. If you're doing a track view or automatic view in a replay, you actually get different views each replay. Like, there's not that many variances, but there are some. So sometimes I'm replaying a replay 3, 4, 5 times, wanting it to generate a certain camera angle, because I've got an artistic eye and I want certain angles. Okay, stage 4. Things should finally start to get a tiny bit challenging. There are a couple of points in this event that could be hard for people, and I will point those out when we get there. I can think of at least 1, maybe 2, but for sure 1. And another one just confused me for a bit. I don't know what was wrong with me. Sometimes I don't know if I'm just tired and not reading properly. I mean, this one, like, come on, overtake 6 people. Like, okay, well, that was done before corner 1. So yeah. Now, if you're doing, some people will say, well, you're doing it easy because you bought all the upgrades right away, and you should have done it differently because it's more of a challenge. I get that, and no worries. You know, if you want to do that, you go ahead and do that. I also like doing that sometimes, and I could do that. And maybe, you know what, I almost wish I would have done that this time. I do like to learn the handling of a car right off the start, because as you add upgrades, it can really change, and then you've got to adjust again. And also, it's nice to get all these earnings, although at a certain point I max out my earnings, so what's the point? Like, I can't earn anymore. One thing you could do, like, I'm doing this as soon as I can, so I'm trying to get the videos out for you guys. But whenever so for me, currently it's 6 p.m. I want to say, or is it 7 p.m.? Ah, nuts, I forget. Oh well. The time when your M dollars resets. You could start this event like an hour or two before your M dollar cap for the day resets, and then stop, take a little break, and then finish it after that. You could do that. Now I can't, because this event starts just like everyone. This event starts on a minute 1 of your new M dollar maximum for the day. So I'd have to wait almost 24 hours, and then that's going to put me getting my video out by like 30 hours late, and so I'm not doing that. So I just give up some earnings for you guys. But hey, there you go. Sometimes I haven't done that. Like with the limited time series events, I didn't do that because it was so much. Like that was like 3 days of farming within that one series. So I actually did space those out when I did it. I think I only got 1 or 2 cars from that year. It might have been 1. Like, honestly, if you've got one of the good cars, that's really all you need. So this one, it's not hard to hit the speed requirement. There's a later one where it actually does get to be a little bit more of a challenge. Still, it's not that bad. Oh, getting a little bit of a racy there. Way back in position 6. That's kind of funny. I mean, I was getting over into his lane, so, you know, that's not Norris. Sorry, I was looking more at the logo. Norris is in front of me. Same team. I was coming across his nose, certainly my error, so I get it. He had every right to drive into me. Kind of funny. I do like that. Oh yeah, look at that. Gaining nicely on that McLaren. Yeah, so not too much here at this point. Like, one thing also I like about adding upgrades early and then running really aggressive, these bots are set on maximum difficulty. So that does allow me to answer questions that a reason why I add all upgrades right at the beginning, not all, but the required ones, is that I know the answer to the question. If people start saying, well, it's impossible, I know how impossible it is. These are the hardest bots you could face. I've got it on maximum difficulty. So if someone says it's impossible, I know, no, it's not impossible, it's a skill issue, and that's okay. So then you could lower the difficulty. Like, the advantage of a required PR event is you just have to quit, retry, and the difficulty is going to go down. It's going to get easier and easier. That's the only time you can lower difficulty, usually. Sometimes there's exceptions to that, but for the most part. Now, as you can see, for the most part, I've been winning every race. Hitting my speed, one more section here, one more long straight. And not really a straight, because it does have an elbow in it, very slight. But easy to hit speed there. We'll hit the speed target here. What is it? Just over 300, right? Yeah, this one's just over 3. No problem there. Quite the track with all the lights they have. It's very interesting. Like, that's a lot of lights. If you just sit here looking at the light poles as you're going by, it's kind of nice. It's quite a nice circuit at night. And when you watch the replay, oh boy, you get some of I think it's this circuit. I think there are some water shots. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong. Pretty sure there's water somewhere around here. Anyway, I haven't watched a replay at this track for a while now. Okay, here's one of these that threw me off. Because it's like, how do I get in 15 seconds of slipstreaming when I can only slipstream 225 meters at a time? And It's not at a time, it's in total. So in 225 meters, you've got to realize, I'm actually surprised they set it that low. It's nowhere near that low. That's actually 100 meters, exactly 100 meters, because they give you 2.25 meters for every meter you drive. It's a Roman cubit. So that's almost no time at all in a car this fast. So just watch where you're driving. Now, I've already led 1 second of slipstreaming, which I didn't realize. I wanted to get up to position 1 to lead, but I don't think I'm able to do that. I didn't want to, well, 15 seconds is a long time. And so I thought, yeah, let me get to a nice section here, like get here. And you've got to be in front of both of these guys. You can't be in the middle because you'll be slipstreaming. So I do a little crossover here. And you got to be careful of side draft. That'll also make that go up. But now I can get in front and lead a draft for a long time, lead some slipstream all the way down here. Oh, I lost him. Well, Magnuson, I thought you were faster than that. Come on, man. Where'd you go? See what I mean about bots in corners? They're atrocious in the corners. I mean, it's just like, come on, man, that's embarrassing. Of course, it's not Magnuson, it's the bot programming. Okay, now let's see if I can find first place. I don't think I've got enough time to get first place. Let's just see here. There's second place. I don't think I'm going to see first place. Maybe I'll just see him. With where second place was, I don't think I could have gotten up there for the slipstreaming. Nope. Nope. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Of course, I like to win. I always want to win. But it's not always necessary, so I will forego my winning for this one race. Okay. Things should get maybe challenging. I mean, required PR events, they are rarely challenging. It's usually just yawn. Mr. Formation guy, I hit him at the worst spot. Okay, so he was to the right. This guy will be to the left. Should be. Let's watch. Let's see. Yep. Ooh. That was a bit tight. Okay, watch me blast this corner. Let's go. Wow, blasted. Oh, I can go faster than that yet. Come on, man. You're slow. I'm making fun of myself. That's fun to do. I'm already in second place. Oh, okay. A lot of these, I mean, we've got like 25 races, not 25 races. Maybe 24, maybe 23. If it was 5 races per stage, it would be 25, but it's not. It's 4 for their first 4, which is 16 plus 5 is 21. Hello, come on, math. So they've got to come up with unique stuff all the time. And they make it interesting enough. I noticed they haven't been doing endurance races as much. And that's fine. I'm glad, they do try to follow some more Grand Prix themes, like, there's time sections, you got to qualify, let's do stuff like, your tires are shot, or your engine's overheating, and things like that. So they do try to keep in with that Grand Prix theme. So I like that. That's cool. So it's just not always that way. But there you go. I'm feeling better about corner 1. I was having a hard time there for a bit. Okay, well, that's going to wrap up this stage. Let's get to the finale. Okay, stage 5, where things do start to get difficult. This first race is a bit annoying because we're way back here on an outlap and you can't overtake anyone until the hairpin of the next lap. And so we're stuck here with these back markers, and you barely have time to push. You don't really want to physically push a bot very much, especially since it might have been a no damage stage. But if you start tapping them, they actually drive slower. And they're formation driving, so it's horrible. He's sticking to the right. I still can't overtake, but at least they'll stop formation driving after the start-finish line. They should fall into line now, which means we should see some faster driving. Although we're way back here with these back markers. Come on, man. Come on, Russell. No. Don't wag back and forth. I'm trying to help you out here. I'm going to give you a push. You slow. Here's the hairpin. I can overtake after this, and you can bet I will. I want to make 15 positions in 2 laps. Yikes. That ain't happening in real life. But this ain't real life, so let's see what we can do here. Ooh, boy. This car is not that fast. I'm surprised I'm having that much trouble catching a 14th place car. That is surprising. Magnussen, you're way back here? Okay, cool. Oops, off track. Didn't want to do that. Definitely hurt my speed. But I also didn't want to hit Magnussen. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get top 5, let alone the lead. Hamilton? What are you doing back here? Huh. Must have had a bad race. That's interesting. Okay. Then we have the building. It's all purple at night. Slicing through these corners. Well, I'll be in the top 10 in no time. And I'll be in the top 9. Oh! Okay. I got first place. That is surprising. Okay. Well, I didn't get to first place, but I did. That's hilarious. Yay! Very soon I'm going to run out of room to earn. Now, this one, at first I was being a little bit cautious with the engine. And then I thought, let's just see if I need to be caring about this. Oh, interesting steering wheel. Huh. I didn't notice how different they are. They're unique. That's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm used to, I drive the RB20 so much. That's the only car I maxed out for. Oops. Oh, gosh. I got maximum damage. That's going to slow me down. Yeah, and maybe make me loose. The RB20 is the only one I've got fully upgraded, so it's the one I'm using the most. So I just decided at a certain point, you know what? Who cares about the engine? Let's just see how this goes. Because usually in a required PR event, you really don't have to worry about the engine. Even when they tell you you do, you don't. Oh, I'm in 3rd place. Okay. I should be able to get in 1st place before the end of this lap. I would think. Wouldn't you think so? I think so. Because we've got multiple sections. The technical section, oh, well, yeah, obviously. The track gets really technical. Bots suck at that. So I should have no trouble. And look at the engine temp. Nowhere near in danger. You can just ignore the engine. Drive it as aggressively as you want to. Engine doesn't matter. And average speed doesn't matter. Because it just happens like this. I've got way more than enough average speed. 231, 231.1. Yeah, way more than I needed. No worries, mate. Okay, sector here. Okay, here's the one that's a little bit, this will be challenging for people. Because a lot of people don't know how to hit speed twice down one section. You just got to slow down a little bit. I forget, is it 5 or is it 10 kilometers an hour you have to go below the target to reset the speed counter? I forget. Someone out there might know. If you can let me know, I'd love to hear that. How much do we have to go below the target speed before we can re-hit it? If you don't drop enough, you won't hit it twice. So right now I don't have enough time. I'll hit it once. But down the next section, I will hit it twice. So what you want to watch for is you want to know the approximate speed you got. Well, know the speed you got to hit, but watch the counter and the speed. So as I get to about 320, I'm gonna move my eyes over to watch for that 2 to appear. And as soon as that appears, I'll lift off the throttle a little bit and reapply. See that? And then I got 2 counts down one section. And down this, I think you're pushing it. Now, you could do the same thing with brakes. It just felt like this was a bit tight. I'm taking the longer way around the track. See, by the time I hit speed once, I'm getting really close to my braking zone. So I just didn't want to try for twice. That's 4 times in 1 lap, which means it's easy to do this twice, because I've got 2 full laps. But if you don't know about that reset feature, you're not going to have enough race to do this in. You're going to have to go backwards and try to hit it twice in some section. And I can't remember if we have a position requirement or is it a time requirement. There's another requirement, okay? That's what I know. So 127 was my lap. Wow, there was an outlap there. That's pretty bad. So here, let's see if we can hit speed twice here. I'm not actually going to try. How quick does the 5 appear? Maybe you could hit speed twice there. If you're really fast on those brakes, just a really slight tap to go below that. But it's easy to do it here. This is a really nice, no stress area to do it. And so I kind of like, that's why I like this, because there's lots of room. So there, hit it once, easily hit it twice, easily get it down this next section. Nothing to worry about. Way in the lead. Am I not? Oh yeah, I'm way in the lead. Embarrassingly in the lead. And there we go. There's my last speed requirement. Not difficult if you know that trick. If you don't, there's going to be piles of people on Facebook. They're going to be posting, how do I do this? I can't do this. I don't know what's wrong. Something's wrong with their race. They're cheating and all sorts of things people say. It's like, no, you just need to watch my channel. That's what you do. And there's timestamps there. So in these events, I always try to provide this timestamp so you can see exactly where you can just go right to the race. Make it easy on you. There you go. That's how you hit speed 8 times. And the rest of this, 10,000 yards. It's funny that they're using yards. My American friends will like that. I believe it's about 91% of the world uses the metric system. 91, 92%. I was having a conversation with someone the other day. We were talking about Celsius and Fahrenheit and how we were watching a bit of football on American Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving is different than Canadian Thanksgiving. We have a different time of year for that. So, anyways, we were watching some NFL football, and it was funny because it was Miami Dolphins having to play in cold and snow, and people are saying how cold it is, and it's like, yeah, it was like minus 20 degrees Celsius here in Canada, and where I am in Canada, most of Canada wasn't necessarily that cold. But it's like, yeah, that's cold, and we're still, if you're going outside for just a little bit, like a couple of minutes, just going to the car to get something, I just go out in a shirt. I mean, I don't even put on my boots, just go out in socks and pants and a shirt, and it's kind of what we do. So it's kind of funny. Anyways, 99% of the world uses Celsius, so I thought that was interesting. So there you go. There's a fun fact for my American friends. I think, I'm going off of my memory now, it's definitely all of the United States, the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, and Liberia are the places that use Fahrenheit. And then about 91% of the world uses metric, so they know kilometers an hour. Because America is our biggest trading partner, a lot of Canadians know kilometers and miles and feet and meters, but not really Fahrenheit. I still know my decent amount of Fahrenheit. Like average room temperature in Fahrenheit is going to be about 70 to 72. In Celsius, we're going to run about 20, 21. So certain things I do know. My Fahrenheit's 32 degrees. Fahrenheit is freezing temperature. Fahrenheit and Celsius meet at negative 40. It's equalized. So if I tell an American friend that, hey, it's minus 40 here today, they're going to be like, what? But I've got American friends in North Dakota and other parts of the northern states where it's really just as cold. Minot is really about the same weather as what we get in Canadian prairies. So not that different. Anyhow, it's kind of funny. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm being very careful because I found out the hard way. If you tap Verstappen, you get damaged and your race is over. I had that happen. So be careful. I'm going to definitely get around him here. Like you can see this car, the Aston Martin is definitely a slower car. The RB20 has got the highest top speed. There might be one or two other cars that match it, but I'm just saying it's as high as you get. But I've noticed that fully upgraded, the Mercedes has a little tiny bit more grip and maybe a slightly different handling characteristic. I think it has better brakes too. I didn't look. That could also make a difference at Interlagos. But with these cars, they're so closely matched, a lot of it comes down to skill. So you could have the best car fully upgraded, and you could easily be several seconds back from the top times. I mean, I'm still pretty well a full second back from the top times, like the top one or two guys. Now, this race gets interesting. Do not go off track. Like 2 tires off track, fine. 4 tires off track, don't do it. And because you're going to lose, the tires degrade very fast. By the time you're at the end of this race, it's actually not easy. So you need to get a lead as big as you can while you've got the tires for it. 80%, I'm already starting to get careful with my car. 75%, I'm definitely altering my braking ability. Like I'm altering my braking zones. I wanted to get an extended look at the steering wheel. It's quite different, so that's cool. And I'm glad that they've made things somewhat unique. And so I'm going to get my gain as good as I can. Norris is actually reasonably fast. It's only one more lap after this, but if we get down to nothing tires, it's like, well, I know a lot about driving on ice, and that's exactly what it feels like. You got to be very careful driving on. Oh, watch. Oh, you lose a lot of tires when you go off track. So I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for how loose this car is already. So that's not good. I'm going to have to baby it. And that let Norris catch up quite a bit. That was a major mistake. I am not comfortable with my lead. Really not comfortable here. You can see I'm over braking it. I'm braking earlier, getting my steering in early. You want to get your steering in early. And then you can blast out earlier. Oh. I really hammered on those brakes. I did not want to go off track. Lando, I mean, I've got a decent lead, still 400 meters. But this is going to get really sketchy. And I don't want to be going off track. Man, I'm sliding around a lot. Oh, the hairpin's going to be a disaster in this car. Oh, yeah, that was a disaster. Okay, what will I get on? Like, Lando's going to have way better exit speed on me. 400 meters. Oh, I've still got a massive lead, though. But then I've got to substantially overbrake it. Really being careful. Yep. Like, this is getting dangerously low on tires. I'm surprised. Usually they don't make it this difficult. I don't mind at all. I want these things to be difficult. That's why I made sure to get things as hard as you can get them. Like my Lando should be as fast as they get. And I didn't really mess him up, so his lap time should be pretty uninhibited. Sometimes people will make comments about bots, like why is the lap times different? By the way, if you don't finish a race, lap times are substantially different versus finishing the race. Bot lap times are way slower when you don't drive the race all the way through. So you might notice that. You might be doing some bot slowing, and suddenly it's like, oh my goodness, this race got, oh my goodness, actually, Lando's getting really close to me, and I'm losing it at the last corner. Oh boy, I'm actually nervous. He's just right there. Okay, good. Woo! Okay, well there we go, guys. And I had my actual earnings there. I got 0, but I showed you what the race paid. Be careful. Choose the car you upgraded. I don't like this, but anyway, I see why it's here. So please like and subscribe. Here's the other videos I said I was going to have for you, showing the time trials at Interlagos. So you can see those, and you can follow my ghosts. You could go find the times. I improved the RB20 time a little bit. But there you go, guys. Best of luck to you getting your cars. Bye-bye now.